So what is prayer? Prayer is undistracted attention. It is something that Jesus models for us. In John 5, he says, "Very truly I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees the Father doing." Undistracted attention leads to continuous awareness of God. Jesus also tells us that prayer needs scaffolding. He sought silent places of solitude. He did something within that scaffolding. He meditated on scripture, meditated on nature to find teaching for us. And in that scaffolding, we find that our minds are very noisy, and that if we're going to be undistracted, we need to turn that noise down. And we do that by exercising our muscle of attention. 4 letters, F, M, M, D. We focus our attention on scripture, on our breath. There's no sacred secular divide, so to find a calm state of mind, we can practice this whilst eating, whilst walking, whilst drinking a cup of coffee. The first thing that happens when we focus our attention is that our minds will wander. We have a beautiful capacity for meta-awareness that can notice that our mind has wandered and what it has wandered to, and then we direct it back. As we practice this, we train our attention. We learn to switch attention. We learn to sustain attention. We learn deep attention. We go against the cultural grain, which has fragmented and broken and taken captive our attentional capacities, what is called hyperattention, where we're easily bored and need constant streams of information coming at us, needing these distractions. This turns down the noise in our heads. As we do that, we become aware that these thoughts, this noise, these stories come from a narrative self. We are storytelling people, and that's where we live most of the time. But very often, because we have a negativity bias, these stories are distorted and negative. And when we focus our attention on our breath, we breathe in the presence of God, we breathe out anxiety, stress, fear. When we focus on walking or scripture, all of these things are embodied things, and we come to our senses, what is called our experiential self. And that gives us a rest, a holiday from the stories we tell ourselves. And then we find that we have an observing, witnessing self, a bigger self, that can hold these other parts of ourself, hold in awareness. We switch from thinking to awareness that holds all our thoughts and feelings. And as we continue to inhabit this observing self, what we're able to do is relativize our thoughts. And the key question we have to ask ourselves, am I my thoughts and feelings? Are you your thoughts and feelings? And the answer is, they're part of us, but we are bigger than them. And also, thoughts are not facts. They're just passing mental events. And thoughts and feelings can be observed, can be witnessed. We can hold them rather than be held by them. The problem is I can go off on a train of thought, or I can find the train station within and see the trains of thought coming in and out. We also need to recognize that our thought life is shaped by the patterns of this world. To be fearful, anxious, stressed, acquisitive, consumer-shaped, to be competitive. And Romans 12 verse 2 tells us not to conform to those patterns, and tells us that God himself can transform our mind, which is good news. We're also told in Scripture that we can take captive our thoughts in 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5 and make them obedient to Christ. We can do that because we can observe our thoughts, and also because our thoughts can be relativized. They're just passing mental events. So that's the next step, and we'll just now have some slides which remind you of each of the steps on the journey we're taking towards undistracted attention and a continuous awareness of the presence of God. And behind all of this is the aim that we can pay attention to what is real, with a small r, the world around us, and what is real with a capital R, God. And as we pay attention to God and the capital R of real, we are able to live in the real with a small r in a different way, in a way like Jesus did. Take care. God bless.